Hey everybody, welcome to Outside the Box here on Xpnsion Network. I am Toni Vaughn, and today I want to talk about something that is very personal to me, but I know it's not exclusive to me. I know there's a lot of people out there dealing with this. It's about relationships. So this is something that I have experienced personally, and so you're going to get to know a little bit more about me during this time together. So I have been married 3 times, which means I have been divorced twice, and had 3 kids in the midst of all that, and boyfriends when I was younger, and things like that. So the thing that first of all, I want to tell you this though, okay, is that it does not matter how enlightened, how evolved that you think you get. And I'm not trying to put down anybody's, level of wherever you're at. I have found, and I know this to be true, that you're never there, okay? Because it seems like just when, I can spend years and years and years gathering information and feeling like I'm taking this step and then this step, and I'm like, I'm almost there. Like, I've got it all figured out and life is going to be just a smooth ride. And the universe goes, no, sorry, sweetheart, that's not how it works, okay? I would feel like, like I'm gathering information on both sides, and I get to where I feel like I'm right about at the peak, to where I can just kind of hang out up here on this plateau, and then the universe goes, nope, sorry, there's all this more information. So then I have to go, back through, and I think I get up here, and it happens all over again. So don't think that just, that as you're evolving and becoming more enlightened and understanding things more, and you're like, I'm really getting a grip on this, you are always going to be tested. There is going to be another situation, circumstance, something like that, that's going to come along, that the universe is just going to be like, here, let's see what she does with this, and put that in front of you and kind of test you. You're constantly going to be tested. But those are great, because when you get through those tests is when you gain more information, which helps you to continue on your road of learning and loving how to exist and coexist and create and give your gifts here on this fabulous planet Earth. So relationships, are everything. The relationships we have with ourselves, which is the most important, but then the relationships you have with your kids and your family and your friends and your relatives and your coworkers and everybody that crosses your path, kind of thing. What I want to talk about today, though, is those grown-up, sometimes adolescent, but the relationships that you have one-on-one with another person, and how we can lose ourselves in those if we don't enter into those relationships knowing who we are as a solid, sitting in a place of empowerment and knowing who we are, confident in who we are, comfortable with our faults, as well as the great things about us, which I think is I think that's pretty rare, that 2 people usually get together like that. Only because, you start from childhood gathering all this crap in your head about who you think you are, because as a kid, you just believed everyone around you because you didn't know any different, right? So, we go into these relationships with all of this baggage, some of it that fits in a very small, tiny little bag, and some of it that, would fill up an airport. You know what I mean? Like, some of us have a lot of baggage, and some of us not so much, and some of us very little. Having said that, when you get into a relationship, not knowing who you are and having expectations for this other person to fill up all the holes that you feel like have been in you, that's an awfully big responsibility to put onto somebody else. And, especially when the disappointment comes from us when they don't do that. And then sometimes we react in different ways about that. So I have found, this is the part where you're going to get to know a little bit more about me, that in my relationships, I would practically disappear. Everything becomes about the relationship. Everything stems from that relationship. And that's not entirely a bad thing. I mean, when you get into a relationship, when you get married, when you start having kids together, you know, the relationship as a foundation, as a friendship, has to be friendship. You got to care about each other's feelings, kind of thing, to begin with. That is a good thing, and you need to do that. The bad thing is when you come into a relationship, and again, I'm going to use myself as an example, being in a bad place from a previous unhealthy relationship, right? Meeting somebody who is different than the ones you've been with. Energy's lighter. The connection is crazy good, right? On all levels. And then building me up, reminding me of who I am and making me feel good and making me feel stronger. And then if over time things start going a little south, which they a lot of times tend to do, and if that other person pulls away, I feel like they take all of that stuff that they gave me with them. And then I'm stuck here, like, all of a sudden forgetting who I am, forgetting that I remembered who I am, kind of thing, you know? All of the individual things about me, down to little things, changing an email address, personalized license plates, maybe tattoos. Done that more than once. So then you feel like everything that you remembered about yourself kind of goes along away with that other person, or with the perceived death of the relationship as you knew it. And feeling like if the other person wants out or leaves, and they don't seem to be in a whole lot of pain, you know, you're like in a corner over here in a ball, you're a sopping wet dish rag, like full of tears and negative self-talk. And part of it is the pain of feeling like, if they're not hurt over this like I am, maybe I wasn't all that special, you know? And then trying to get into arguments and screaming matches, trying to pull some sort of energy from them that tells you that they're hurt too, because you don't want to be alone in your pain. You want somebody else to be there with you. You want the person who is in this with you, the person that you think caused the pain, to be there with you, because somehow if they hurt as much as you did, even if the split still happens, it's not as bad, right? And again, this is something that I have experienced and had to go through and finally learn that it's not about whether or not they think you're special. It's really none of your business, almost, whether or not they think you're special. The only thing that matters is that you think you're special, right? Maybe they missed something. Maybe they're going to regret it once they're gone. Even if they don't, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying at all that you shouldn't or wouldn't, or that it's bad if you still mourn the loss of the relationship, because, you know, in the beginning of that relationship, in all sincerity, the two of you were in love, you were connected, and you both wanted to feel a certain way. And maybe for a long time you did. But over time, people can change. People do change. Some people evolve, some people devolve. And when you're not both sitting at that same frequency anymore, you know, one of you is maybe growing and the other one is kind of stagnant. If you don't have a really solid friendship, and knowing that no matter what the other person is saying to you, they're saying it to you because, you know, they love you, because they care about you. Because a really true friend doesn't just sit there with you in your crap. They're going to tell you that you're sitting in crap and that you stink and to get up out of it, excuse me, to try to help you move forward. But if that's not the case, if the person down here isn't feeling that, if they're just feeling like you're being condescending because of the place that you've elevated to, you know, things aren't going to work out. So you have to know that it's okay. You're mourning a dream of, you know, what you built up in your mind and in your heart of what you thought this was going to be. You know, I thought we were going to have kids together. I thought we were going to grow old together. You know, I thought we were going to buy a home together. I thought we would get to a place where, you know, we retire together and we go do the things that we couldn't do while we were having kids and raising kids and working, and, you know, all of these plans that you had. It's okay that it's not working out, because sometimes people are just there for a certain while to help you get to this level that you've elevated to, that they can't get up to yet, or, you know, or they're not ever going to, or whatever. Sometimes their job was just to get you to that place where you felt more confident and you felt stronger. Sometimes you can work through it and that other person can raise up, or maybe it's you that needs to raise up. And sometimes that can still work out. But nothing is ever so wrong in its finality of a split that you can't move on from it, okay? Because you never know. A month from now, 5 months from now, a year from now, you might end up meeting somebody else who takes you from here, you know, up to here. And how could that have happened if you would have stayed down here with this person that was here, or with this person that was up here above you in their evolution, and you couldn't get up to them, or, you know, whatever. You have to have faith and you have to have trust that it's okay, whatever happens. Things may change in the future and you both end up in the same spot again and you get back together. That kind of stuff happens all the time. They might end up being just a really good friend, and you are friends to each other and you help build each other up and stuff like that. But you have to be really conscious of not losing your identity in a relationship, that you don't give your power away to somebody else, that you don't, when you disappear like that and lose yourself in a relationship, you're constantly at the emotional whim of whatever state they're in. If they're really happy, had a great day, you're like, okay, I can have a great day, because you're depending on their energy to tell you how to feel. Or, you know, or they're going through a really hard time or had a really bad day. Maybe they take it out on you. And so then, even though it had nothing to do with you, but you're an outlet because you're close and you're trusted, you know, you're still going to be around even after they dump their crap. And so, you know, but it's still painful, and you go off alone and you cry, and, you know, you wait for it to get better. That was one that I really had to learn for myself, and it was rough. I didn't realize that I had disappeared until I couldn't see myself anymore, and really had to do some inside work to, and it, like I said, it was not easy. And at the time, it just felt like another hell that I was going through in my life. And you're just like, really, again? I thought I was past all this. But this was that one thing that was still kind of hanging on over here that I wasn't paying any attention to. So in the end, you know, you get to the other side and you're like, oh my gosh, thank God I went through that. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't gone through all of this muck and this crap in here that I thought was undeservedly being, you know, handed to me and forcing me to go through. But it got me to the other side, and to where relationships in the future, I will never sacrifice my identity for somebody else again. I will never not let my light shine because somebody else might think that that's putting them in a shadow, you know? Don't ever dim your light so that somebody else can shine. You know, that's really hard on the soul. It's really hard on the spirit. It's hard on the dreams. It makes it harder to move forward. So if you're not in a relationship, but you'd like to be, you know, that's something that you're looking forward to. Do the work on yourself before you get there, and keep this in mind. And this is not about building up a wall that somebody can't get through, about putting up that wall so that there's pieces of you don't want to give away, because you feel like if you do, you'll be, you know, lost, disappeared, won't be able to see yourself anymore. If you're wanting to get into a relationship, just do the work on yourself so that when you get to that relationship, there's no question who you are, what your boundaries are, what you want, what you don't want, what you'll put up with, what you won't put up with, so that there's no question from the very beginning. You don't go, you know, 7 years into a relationship, a year into a relationship without knowing, okay, this is not the one for me. I need to keep going. If you're already in a relationship and some of what I'm talking about resonates with you, I would say take some time for yourself. And that can be done whether you work full time, are raising kids, you know, whatever. Like I talked about in the last show, you need to have time for yourself. You can't just be pulled all the time in different directions because of roles that you feel like you've been placed in as a mother, as a wife. You have to be able to take time for yourself and not give a damn if people don't like it, okay? Because you have nothing if you don't fill yourself up. You have to be able to stand in your place of power and confidence and knowing of who you are before you are able to give anything to anybody anyway. So take the time out for yourself. Do some introspective work. Remember who you are. Remember your worth. Remember what you have to offer. Remember what your gifts are. And if you can't, I mean, obviously you can't maybe do that all in one sitting, but, you know, make it a regular practice to take time to yourself as you're working on yourself. And get back to who you are. Remember what your dreams are. Remember what your gifts are. You know, there's no statute of limitations on making dreams come true, on following your passions, on going back to school, or on taking a course that's going to help you be better in what it is that you want to do. So don't disappear. Be seen, but know who you are so that when you're seen, there's no question about who you are and what you'll deal with and won't deal with, and what you have to offer in a relationship, what you expect from a relationship. There's nothing wrong with having standards. If you don't have standards of what you want in a relationship and what your expectations are, then you'll put up with anything, okay? And people respect that you have standards. So make sure and do that, okay? I think if there's anything I'm forgetting here. Never stop learning, never stop researching, never stop experimenting with different ideas and belief systems that fit you, because you're constantly going to be growing. Like I said, you think you get to the point and then it opens right back up again. So always keep doing that. Keep looking, because you're going to learn new things about yourself the older that you get. I wouldn't go back to being in my 20s for anything. I'm pretty close to, I'm a year away from 50, you know, and I got to tell you something, man, it just keeps getting better and better. The lessons are still there. The pain is still there. The tears are still there. The negative self-thought is still there at times, as I go through new things. And I hope to continue going through new things, you know, until the day I die. I don't want to plateau in my life. I always want to be experiencing and learning new things, especially about myself and what my capacity for learning is. So never stop doing that. I also want to tell you, I can't remember if I told you in the last episode. So dropitlikei'shot.org has the Drop It Like It's Hot book, the audio book. You can also get personal life coaching lessons from me on the site. You can purchase those and schedule those right there on the site. The Drop It Like It's Hot coaching course, that's a 6-week course, is also on that website. So please take a look at those. You can contact me at tony@outsidethebox.vip if you have questions about anything. And again, please feel free to send me any questions that you want to have addressed on the show, any coaching information that you want me to address. So thank you so much for being here with me today. This was so much fun to share this with you. It was a light bulb moment that I needed to share it. And I think a lot of people are going through it, because when I feel that strong of a pull to share the information, I know it's because you guys are out there needing it, wanting it, asking for it, even if it's subconscious. So was happy to share, and I hope it helped. And let me know if it did, and let me know if you have questions. Okay? Thank you. Have a great day, and see you next time on Outside the Box.